This is Ruth Durrell, an expert in customer relationship management, and she is giving us a tutorial on CRMs. She works for a company called Less Annoying CRM, and she is going to tell us 2 things to look for in a CRM, what information you should or should not store about customers, and what it means when you label a contact as banana. At BYU Tech Transfer, we have been using Less Annoying CRM for months, and we are ready for a tutorial from Ruth.
We are a small business ourselves down in St. Louis, and we build contact relationship managers specifically for small businesses. You can imagine there are huge corporations out there that have tons of customers, and you need a way to organize that, making sure that you are following up with people, making sure that their orders are met or invoices are sent. And that's where a CRM comes in, really to help organize all of those and make sure that all of those pieces are coming together. Less Annoying CRM, we are designed, again, specifically for small businesses, because a lot of the CRMs out there are made for the bigger guy. And that's great. That's fine if your business is large. But if you are kind of like a one man, one woman, one person operation or a family business, a lot of the CRMs that are out there don't fit your needs. They are a little too big, a little too powerful, a little too complicated. So we're kind of here for the small business as a small business.
Yeah, that's great. And I should say that here at BYU Tech Transfer, we use Less Annoying CRM and we like it a lot. And so I'm glad that Ruth would come on with us. We are an office of, say, 5 full-time people and then some students. And in our CRM currently, we've only started using it like this past year, but we have, I don't know, maybe 10,000 contacts or something like that. And it does everything we want. What do you see as kind of the key features, or how would a normal customer use the CRM?
I guess kind of key features for us that I think set us apart is definitely our customizability, right? A lot of CRMs out there, they're kind of coming pre-made. And some, if you need customization, you almost have to hire another person with specific content knowledge of that CRM to be successful. So, us being able to create a CRM that fits you and your needs specifically. Again, you mentioned y'all are a college, a university that is able to use the CRM, right? We have folks in all industries that use our CRM. So key features, being able to make it fit you, that's what we do. Oh, I didn't even try and rhyme there.
Okay, that's perfect. Well, no, and it really is, your CRM, and I think most would be this way, is quite customizable. So a few things that we do with it is, like, we're marketing technology. So we have many entrepreneurs in our database and so on. So if I want to talk to an entrepreneur about a specific technology, I want a record of that. I want to make an entry. You're set up so that you get a customer, or, well, a client like us will have a unique email address. So if I'm sending someone an email and I need a record of it, I can BCC that address, and then now it'll show up in the CRM under the people involved. Super useful. So when you go back and talk to someone, suddenly have context. So if you're having 10 half-hour calls during a day, you're going to be able to track all of those. Yes. If someone's shopping for a CRM and their business has never used one, maybe some tech transfer offices don't, what are the key things they should look for?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I really would even suggest before you're looking for a CRM is, one, determine if you really need a CRM at this time. Of course, for kind of a college or university space, there's a need or a desire, even a budget for something to help you stay organized. But for a lot of entrepreneurs and small businesses starting out, a lot of folks are using spreadsheets and they're using Post-it notes and just kind of docs and stuff on their computer. And we have a lot of customers that come to us saying, I need something more. But occasionally we do get a customer that says, actually, thanks a lot for doing this demo, showing me around. And I actually think the system that I have is working really well for me, and I'm not ready, or I don't want to shift into using a CRM. I think that really is the first critical point of, do you want one? Do you need one? Do you have kind of the infrastructure and the budget to even have a CRM? So that's kind of step 1, determining if you want and need that. Step 2 is really going to be, where are you at in your business, right? Because if you are kind of in that conceptual, like, I have an idea, I'm sharing the idea, right? I'm getting traction, but I don't have customers. I am not doing any kind of marketing. I'm not doing any kind of selling yet, right? At that point, you probably don't need a super duper powerful CRM that has all of those things incorporated. So again, thinking about where you are right now, where you're going to be in 6 months, it really does benefit you to take the time to identify your needs, identify what features you're looking for, and then taking the time to do it. Because if you're in a rush, right, you've got a million things going on and you rush into the first CRM that kind of fits your needs, 6 months from now, is it going to fit your needs? And now you've taken all this time to your customer information, all of your product information. Hopefully you've customized the CRM, and then you find out there was a feature that I needed that it doesn't scope well for me, or I need a lot more help with customer service than I thought I would need. And now I'm realizing, ooh, the customer service for this particular product is not meeting my needs.
Mhm.
So I would recommend, as you're looking for a CRM, do demos, right? Even though you're the business owner, you're the entrepreneur, when it comes to the CRM, you are the customer, right? When you are shopping, that is your time to ask questions, test out their customer service, even brainstorm kind of your needs with the person you're speaking to see how well they can support you with that. Um, Kind of big tip here, because I know I'm kind of getting real broad with
Oh,
what
you're
to be
great.
looking for
Great.
here. But big tip that I always recommend is that when you are looking for a CRM, a website that we often use is g2.com. It is a review
Mhm.
website. It is designed specifically for software. And it gives you kind of all the key features of various softwares, including CRMs. And it's also going to give you real customer feedback. And that kind of brings me back to when you're looking for a CRM. Yes, every CRM is going to say, we're 5 stars or we're 4.5 stars. Read these positive customer reviews. I recommend that you read the worst reviews. Because if there are a couple really bad reviews and they are talking about the customer service, maybe the product is great. Maybe it fits your exact needs, but that customer service is bad. Or maybe you're coming across someone that an issue came up in their account. There's a bug in their CRM. And again, this is still that kind of customer service piece, but how responsive is that tech team to meeting your needs and really meeting you where you're at and supporting you? So, do you need a CRM? What do you actually need right now? What are you going to be kind of scaling at in 6 months to a year? And then taking the time to find a good CRM. Because I promise, the more time you take in the beginning, it's going to save you time in the end.
Yeah, so a few weeks ago, we spoke with entrepreneur Tyler Lieber from Coconut VA, and he was talking about how in his business they use something like 50 different software packages, different tools to do
Mm-hmm.
different things. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's probably typical, especially you're starting a new company, you don't want to hire recklessly, so you're going to use software tools to do a lot of things. And so
Mm-hmm.
some people in that situation, or even a small tech transfer office, might say, well, yeah, I'll stick with the spreadsheet because I understand Excel and I don't want to learn a new thing.
Mm-hmm.
But our experience using a CRM has been great. And how would you explain to someone how switching to a CRM will improve their sales process?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, first step is kind of learning more about that person, their business, their needs, their team. Because as you mentioned, maybe you've got one person that is really that Excel wizard, feels really good about it. And that's great for that one person. But if you're working on a team of 5 people and kind of that one person's desire to stick with something they know is kind of um, making it more difficult for the whole team, that's kind of a really easy way of, hey, I understand y'all are collaborative. It takes multiple people to make this work. A CRM is really designed to make it a collaborative space for everyone to be able to come together and support one another. So if you're out on vacation and Jane Doe needs a follow up, what do? Oh, you give that task to another person on your team so that they can make sure that they are following up. Additionally, of course, spreadsheets, if you've got your kind of computer with you and you're on vacation and you want to do that, that's fine. You can bring that spreadsheet. Sometimes spreadsheets are local to a device. I know now in kind
Mhm.
of the era of Google Drive and like Microsoft Office, it's a lot easier to have stuff in the cloud, but that's not always what happens. Many CRMs are designed to kind of be in the cloud so you can access them anywhere that you want. A spreadsheet is not going to give you a reminder if you have an upcoming email or an upcoming task. CRMs are designed to keep your opportunities kind of top of mind, to keep you tuned in, to make sure that you are engaging and following up and not letting things fall through the cracks. Having spoken with hundreds of small business owners, folks that work with them, I think that's really one of the biggest things that they are excited about when they see us or just kind of any CRM is, oh my gosh, I have to email someone every 6 months. How do I remember to do this? You set a task, you set
Right.
an event, and you're done. And a spreadsheet, again, is just not going to do that. Post-it notes are not
Mhm.
going to do that.
Yeah, and you kind of need a place to put everything like emails, notes, scans,
Mm-hmm.
documents, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
so you mentioned a couple things that are interesting. One is collaboration. Like we find like different licensing people in our office will be reaching out to the same individuals that we find independently on LinkedIn. So it's really nice if you can look in the CRM and see, oh, my colleague has already talked to them. We already have a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with them. And
Mm-hmm.
so that sort of collaboration. And then also a CRM kind of disciplines your sales process, right? How does in your system, how does the pipeline work? Like I've set up several different pipelines
Mm-hmm.
for different processes.
Yeah, so our pipelines, there's kind of two parts. You've got statuses and custom fields. So those statuses represent steps in a particular process. So you can imagine a lead pipeline, right? Step one is you've identified the prospect. Step 2 is you have reached out and established communication. Step 3 is, maybe you have pitched your idea or your service or your product. Perhaps step 4 is kind of like a negotiating phase. Step 5 is, we've got that contract signed. Step 6 is that product has been shipped, the service has been delivered. And then, of course, there are pieces of information that go along with every single process. So maybe project delivery date, right? You need a spot to put that information, the product or services they're interested in. Maybe you've got check boxes, like 10 different services or things you're doing, and you can check off they need this and this and this. And then perhaps you've just got a special spot for notes. So it really is designed just to keep you moving through your process. And we've got a reporting feature that, yes, on an individual contact or company record, you can see those steps, you can see your notes. But again, if you've got 10,000 contacts in your CRM, how can I see all 10,000 things happening at once? So kind of reporting and filtering is also going to be important to get you, again, focused in on the things that are most important. If you've got a contact that you did your first check-in with, and you're realizing, hey, I haven't heard from them for a little while, I can run a filter, see the last time I talked to them, see the last thing we talked about, and determine, should I reach out to this person today? Should I do it next week? Or is this person just not a good contact, just not a good lead for me anymore?
Yeah, and so probably everyone will have some pipeline like the one you're describing there, where it's a sales pipeline. But then you can add other things. So I have a pipeline on there for podcast guests because I need to invite people. Lots of people say, yeah, I'll come talk to you, but then they're busy, so they don't set up a date. So this reminds me of that, and so on.
Yeah.
And so you could, any process, if you break down your business, it's easy to think of a startup company, for example, as having a single process. We get our order, then we manufacture this and ship it. But actually, probably you have dozens of different processes, and they're all kind of important. So it's nice if you can track those. So for students who are unfamiliar with CRMs, how should they go about learning about them? Like if you don't work for a company that uses one, it is a good business skill to have. How would you approach that?
Yeah, if you are an entrepreneur, again, who's just kind of out here, right? You've taken the time to think about your needs in your business. Google is really your best friend, right? Of course, when you search CRM, a lot of larger CRMs are going to come up, and I don't think that's a bad place to start, right? Just getting an idea of what is out there. As I mentioned, you do have G2.com, which if you just type CRM into G2.com, you're going to get a plethora of CRMs. You're going to see what features there are. So in that research, that can also kind of be helping you determine what your needs are, even in that process. Because if the top, let's say 5 or 6 CRMs on a website are really pushing that they are marketing and they integrate with your email program and all of that. And maybe as you're kind of looking into those features and you're thinking, hey, I already use Gmail or Outlook really, really well. I don't think I need something integrated. Or I'm already using a different program for email marketing. Some folks really want that in one place. And some folks, as you mentioned, right, some businesses are using, 10, 15 different apps, different tools, and that works perfectly fine for them. But ultimately, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but to me, it really is going to come back to your needs and taking the time to determine, as an entrepreneur, maybe it's just you right now. Is it stay just you? Because a lot of businesses and entrepreneurship kind of situations stay that way. Or do you already have a team of people? Are you going to grow? Do you have one product, one service? Do you have multiple? Is that going to grow? Again, demos. Absolutely do as many demos as you can, because again, the product can be phenomenal, but the support you get may not be.
Okay, so 2 other things you made me think of is one is integration with other products can be huge. So for example, Less Annoying CRM integrates with MailChimp, which we use to run several lists. It's ways we communicate with different groups of people. And so all those people are in there. There's often crossover between different ways that you interact with a person. So that's useful. What are some other integrations? I know importing from LinkedIn was pretty easy. What other major softwares do you interface with?
Yeah, so we ourselves, we don't integrate with a super ton with us being a smaller business ourselves. It takes a lot of time and energy to build integrations, but we do have a lot of tools, apps that integrate with us. And just to kind of clarify that difference is, you may have a CRM that says, oh, we built this integration. That means if there's an issue with that integration, the CRM may have access to the code and can kind of look inside and see what's beneath. But if an app is advertised as integrating with the CRM, it's typically that program that has built it and it's their code. So if there are kind of issues or questions, it may simply be that you need to kind of circle back with that app. But to kind of, again, get to us, we integrate directly with Google Calendar, Outlook Calendar, Google Contacts, as you mentioned, MailChimp. We also integrate with a really cool app called Zapier.
Yeah, right.
And Zapier is kind of a bridge tool because, again, we don't integrate with a ton of apps, but Zapier is a bridge tool that we integrate with Zapier. If there's an app or tool you're interested in, they integrate with Zapier. You can kind of use Zapier as the unofficial bridge between those two apps. So, when this thing happens in one place, that results in this action. So if someone subscribes to my newsletter in MailChimp, add them as a contact in the CRM.
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily recommend that because we integrate with MailChimp, but just as a very loose
Yeah.
example.
Yeah, but if you're using some other software, or you can have Zapier, it can be triggered by so many different things, social media
Yes.
things. If someone posts on LinkedIn, you could have it added to their entry in the CRM, things like that. So
Yes.
super useful. And Less Annoying CRM is intentionally on the simple end of CRMs. That's the whole
Yes.
point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we won't say like more annoying, but like on the other end of the spectrum, like I think the ones that people see as high end, the first one that comes to mind is Salesforce. Who else are
Mm-hmm.
kind of the big players that have really complex platforms?
Yeah, I know a lot of the customers that are coming to us are coming from Salesforce,
Mhm.
HubSpot,
Right.
Pipedrive, Monday. Those are kind of the big
Yes.
ones I think I hear.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
just, again, no CRM at all.
Okay. And what's an example of a feature they would have that is more advanced, like appeals to a Fortune 500 company, but
Mhm.
not a startup?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that customers decide we're not the right fit is because we do not have direct email integration. Oftentimes, folks send an email, and you mentioned that you're able to log a copy of that email, so you don't have to have Gmail and Outlook and Mailchimp and the CRM and a million other things open. It's kind of designed for us to all be in one spot. But we are pretty manual, right? You mentioned our unique email logging address. You got to put that in the BCC field of your email. When someone responds, you got to forward that email, right? Some
In some
folks,
email systems, you could make it autofill in the BCC, right? So,
yep,
but yeah, but often, like in Outlook, you would have to manually do it. Yeah.
exactly that. And that is a turnoff for some folks because, if you're sending 1,000 emails a day, that extra click, that adds up. Additionally, some folks are kind of looking for that email marketing. So there's kind of those one-off emails, but then there's
Mhm.
email marketing. Not everyone likes MailChimp, and that's fine. And we don't really integrate with anything else. Some folks are looking for automations, right? That I can click a button and, 5 tasks get added. Or when I do this, it triggers an email. Again, we don't do that. Um,
Mhm.
Invoicing, right? Some CRMs are kind of they've got their own
All right.
like QuickBooks built directly into
Yeah.
the CRM and their own version. We don't do that. And again, it makes sense to want to track customer conversations, customer relations, and the things they've bought and the things they've paid for all in one spot. Of course, you can upload a file, you can upload a contract, you can
Mhm.
upload an invoice, but as far as all being in one place, we don't have all of that.
Yeah, it kind of seems like companies have to decide what's most important to them, what's their biggest priority, because we
Mm-hmm.
have like legal billing software, we have a database for, say, patenting and invention disclosures and things like that. And the CRM's its own thing. When I was a law firm attorney in St. Louis, by the way, I was, which I know you're based in.
Mm-hmm.
So we had kind of legal document management software, and then there was a little bit of CRM built into that. So there are all these different mixes of products, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if someone's starting out, so when we started using your CRM, we had to make decisions about, okay, how are we going to set up groups, for example?
Yep.
So we decided that groups, among other things, could be invention disclosure. So if I get a new invention here, as we do marketing, I'm going to include in that group every company we've contacted, every person we've contacted. So I can look at an invention disclosure and say, look, here are 50 people we reached out to. Super useful. If someone's just starting out, what are the things to think about in structuring how you'll use a CRM?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think the really big thing is like, what are your processes, right? And that comes back to the
Mhm.
pipelines step 2, step 3 situation. But especially if you have a team, how are you going to get everyone on the same page? Because of course, again, if you are a one-person shop, um, you can really do whatever you want because you have your own systems. But just as you mentioned, for you, the way that you're using groups specifically is to keep everyone around kind of a certain product or project in a group categorized. That is probably not the way that I would have off the top of my head
Yeah.
thought to use that, but that is okay because you as the customer, you know your systems and you know your team and your needs way better than I can ever glean in an hour-long conversation.
Mhm.
Let me think
You know,
here.
one reason that's different for us is because if you're at a university tech transfer office, each product you sell is a unique IP asset that you're going to sell to one person, probably one company.
Mm-hmm.
It's like selling art, like original artwork or something. You're just going to sell this thing once, which is very different.
Right.
Most people using a CRM, yeah, you might have 100 SKUs or something, but each one you're going to sell to 10,000 people.
Right.
So it does. We had to make some design decisions that were a little different because of that, I think.
For sure, for sure. Well, question for you, when you were
Yeah.
coming up with how you were going to use your CRM, is that something that you discussed with the team? Is that something that you sat down with the CRM coach and chatted about? How did you come to that conclusion that that particular feature was best aligned for your particular need?
Yeah, we did just like you were saying, which we did some demos. So with one of your colleagues, we were going through a couple sessions. Then we started using it. You do, I think, a 30-day free trial or something. So we were in that period and we were doing it. And so two of us were very involved in setting things up. And so we had played with a different way of setting up invention disclosures. I forget how we were doing it, but I
Mm-hmm.
said, no, for us, an invention is the key thing. So we're just going to have each group be that.
Mm-hmm.
You can make groups public or private. Like I could make them
Yes.
private to me. So if my colleagues wanted to do things a different way, that wouldn't be a problem. It would just look differently to them. But ideally, I'd like everyone to do it this way so we can all see all the inventions and then collaborate on that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you did the thing that was best. I imagine that the CRM coach you met you with probably advised pipelines, but again,
Yes.
you knew that that was not the right fit for you.
Yeah, I think so. And I think we made the right call. I hope like 5 years from now, I don't regret it or something, but so far so good. So we're
Good,
loving
good.
it. But so in your work, you've worked with many companies, clients there. What do you see as some successful CRM stories? Like,
I think I mentioned that before being in this role, I was a teacher, and my favorite thing about teaching was those light bulb moments of a student finally, after however long, understanding the concept, understanding it, and feeling confident that they now understand how to use this new thing. I think I get the exact same thing when working with customers, that a customer comes in and they say, sometimes it's my business is all over the place. Sometimes it's my business is kind of organized, but I'm ready to go to the next level. And it is when we get to that customization, it is when we get to that pipeline, it is when we get to creating groups that the customer goes, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I've been needing and what I've been missing. And I can't believe that I found you guys. I know a particular customer of ours who recently gave us some really lovely feedback, was really about our customer service, which doesn't quite answer your question.
that's
But he was talking about customer service and that he appreciates us, and that I believe he was a plumber. And he said, when he's interacting with his customers, his key metric for his success is, did I make this customer feel the same way that Less Annoying CRM makes me feel?
hmm,
Um, and I know that was a comment that it was literally two sentences in an email. And though I can't speak to exactly how our customization or the product really improved his work, I think that feedback says everything that you need, that you need to know. And the
mhm.
whole team was really excited to hear it.
Well, I guess I see CRMs as kind of a form of automation. I think what he's benefiting from there, like all of us, is just unloading a bunch of information that's otherwise
Yes.
taxing in your mind. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
David Allen with his Getting Things Done system says, start by just writing everything down, just get it out of your brain so you don't have to think about
Mm-hmm.
it. And when you're dealing with like a plumber, I would imagine, who knows how many hundreds, thousands of clients he's interacting with, and just trying to remember little scraps of information is stressful. So having a place
Yes,
where you know the stuff is such a benefit, right?
absolutely.
Yep. Well, good. So, um, for what about stakeholders? So one thing I've run into is, so we have interns who will work in our office, and several of them I'm adding to the system. So they'll have
Mm-hmm.
accounts in the CRM because when they talk to people, I don't want to lose that information either. And
Right.
I don't want to say annoy someone by going to a professor and asking them the same questions an intern asked them a month ago or something.
Right.
So how do you interact with stakeholders? So our professors invent things, they disclose them to us. We're working on
Mm-hmm.
commercialization, but the professors don't necessarily want to be involved in commercialization much.
Right.
How do we can we quite give them access to the CRM, or how do we share information in a way that keeps them in the loop without putting a workload on them? Does that make
For
sense?
sure. For sure. So
Mhm.
some CRMs, they do have kind of an interface where you can share a page and they can see the information. It really just depends on the CRM you're using. We don't have that. I know that you have mentioned kind of notes and being able to track interactions with customers, with stakeholders, right? Because
Mhm.
CRM, customer relationship manager, contact relationship manager, they're kind of interchangeable. I think I prefer contact just because you can be interacting with so many different types of people. You've got, again, investors, stakeholders, people who are buying your product, people who are in your circle, who are sounding boards that you're wanting to record the brainstorming sessions that you've had. So
Mhm.
ultimately, how do we keep those kind of stakeholders or even the inventor engaged, it can be as simple as you're on the phone with someone and you're pulling up their record and you're looking through the notes and the interactions and kind of sharing that with them. It can be as simple as printing the page in a CRM so that you can share that with them directly. But it really just kind of is depending on what information you want to share, because I'm sure some folks are having very sensitive information in their
Right.
CRM that they don't want super public. So really is up to what kind of CRM you're using and what information you're wanting to share with your stakeholders or your inventors.
Yeah, and that's a question I wondered about. So the first time I ever used a CRM, I was an intern in the late 90s when I was a college student. And it was, I think, probably just an Access database, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so people have been doing things for, I mean, I'm sure way earlier than that, for decades, to use software to keep track of contacts. But you raised the issue of having sensitive data in there. That was
Mm-hmm.
pretty confidential data in that database, I would say. Ours is maybe a little bit less so. But what are the lines you see people draw on what you put in a database? Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, I would think it would be a mistake to put in the database. I spoke to this potential customer and he was a jerk. Let's never contact him again. Like, you don't want to say negative things about people in there. How do people handle sensitive data, or what's right and wrong to put in there?
Yeah. I mean, we've had customers that ask us, of course, about our security,
Yeah.
HIPAA compliance, all types of certifications, some of which we just don't have. And that is enough for someone to choose to not work with us. And that's absolutely valid. You need to protect your data and making sure that you are following all laws and protocols specific to you, your region, your industry. Um, we of a fun customer experience that I didn't meet with them, but a colleague of mine did, mentioned that when she had negative interactions with with the potential customer, and she knew that she did not want to work with them again, she had a status in her pipeline called banana. That's all it was. It was silly. She was the only one in the CRM. She knew exactly what it meant. But she knew if someone had a status of banana, we're not going to work with them anymore. Um, uh,
Right.
I think it again, it depends. Is this just your CRM? Are you going to have a team of folks? Because I know some people do kind of put in there. I had a very not pleasant interaction with the customer, and that's okay. I think it really depends on, again, your needs, your team, the culture of your team. I've also seen emojis used, and that is like a really quick, easy way when you're looking at someone's name, someone's title. Oh, here's an X, maybe not, or
Mhm.
here's kind of like a green excitement thing just to represent that maybe this is the key or the VIP person at a particular business that we're interacting with.
Mhm. Okay, great point. And especially if you're in a large company, some of the people you're tracking in the contact database will one day work for the company. So you
Mm-hmm.
got to be careful at some level, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, well, Ruth, I know we're about out of time, but what is the future for Less Annoying CRM and just for the industry in general, do you think?
Yeah, well, we have more and more entrepreneurs. We have more and more great ideas. More and more businesses pop up every day. I imagine that the CRM industry is only going to grow. Of course, for Less Annoying CRM, our goal is to grow. We are working on adding new things to the CRM all the time. I know a shortcoming that I had previously mentioned was that we don't really have email integration. We're working on automatic email login right now.
Okay.
We're working on creating forms right now. We're working on just overall better integrations. Um, but again, us being a small business, much like our own customers, things take time. So we always appreciate that our customers stick with us and that they're waiting as we're building the great things. And again, as we advance, more CRMs are going to advance. The more powerful CRMs are going to continue to advance. And ultimately, finding the best fit for you as you continue to grow as an entrepreneur or a business. Doesn't matter how good we do, doesn't matter how good the other CRMs do. It's a matter of what fits you and finding that right fit.
Okay. Well, great. And people should know that this episode is in no way sponsored or anything. We're just a happy customer of Less Annoying CRM. If people want to learn more about you, where should they go?
Yeah, they can go to lessannoyingcrm.com. As you mentioned, we've got 30-day trials. Those are absolutely free. We don't ask for any kind of billing information till at the end of your trial. We've got a demo account full of fake data, so you don't even have to sign up. You can just check out that demo account, play around, blow it up. Nothing's going to happen. Delete everything. Doesn't matter. And remember that we're here for you every step of the way as far as our customer support. So feel free to send us an email, give us a call, or book a live demo.
Okay. So great. Well, thanks for your time, Ruth. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Dave.